So, is the dynamic effort method for you? Well, I'm going to say a couple things and let's have you decide. Are you slow off the chest or at lockout? Do you find yourself missing attempts because you get stuck on your chest or a couple inches off your chest, or you get the, um, say you're bench pressing out of meat and you get right to lockout and you just can't finish it? Dynamic effort method will help you with force production, um, generation of power, not only off your chest, but allow you to build that momentum through the lift to be able to finish the lifts, not only in bench press, but squat and deadlift too. How about if you miss groove quite a bit? Say you miss your squat or your bench because you kind of touch in the wrong spot frequently, or you're just off a little bit. Having a second day where you do maybe 3 sets of 5 or 5 sets of 5, you're only getting three first reps. But with the dynamic effort method, you're getting at a minimum six first reps, all the way up to potentially 15, 16, even 18 first reps, depending on where you are in the cycle. 18 is kind of pushing it. 18 sets of one, um, stuff like that. 18 sets of two. That's really, really pushing it. That's for people that can handle quite a bit. But I'd say top end 15 sets of two. For bench press, probably anywhere between 6 and 12 sets of 2 to 3. That's kind of like your sweet spot. But you're getting at max 12 sets of first reps for bench press. That's 12 sets of first reps for bench press. That's quite a bit. That's a lot of technical mastery. So instead of bench pressing 3, 4, 5 times a week, you're getting more of that technical mastery and force reduction and volume in one session. Um, to go into volume, what if you need some extra volume, but you feel just beat up and going heavier with your volume, even going up to, doing like 80% for a few sets of like, say, 5 or 6. You just don't want to do that. You just don't feel right. Speed work can help. You're adding multiple sets with anywhere between 50 to 75% of your one rep max. That's adding a tremendous amount of volume, overall volume, to your week's work. Um, that can help build not only muscle, but muscle endurance, anaerobic endurance. Okay, so now that we kind of know where and who kind of needs this, which is kind of everybody, um, how do you use it? Well, I'm not going to lay out a whole plan, but a great place to start would be a 3 week wave. That's what I recommend. That's what I normally program for people. That's kind of the chunk of it. Some people need something a little different depending on how advanced they are. If they're more advanced or beginners, they do a little bit different. But the big chunk is usually a 3 week wave. People tend to um, really work well with that. So I'm going to give you a bench press wave as an example. If you're pretty far out from a meet, um, let's say you use 50% of your one rep max and you have bands and chains on there. That's going to give you quite a bit, right? So we don't want to put 50% of actual bar weight on there because we want to wave up. So I would start around probably 35% bar weight, maybe even 30%, depending on how strong you are, depending on how advanced you are, and add the remaining 20% in bands and chain of accommodating resistance. Each subsequent week, I would add 5%. So don't add any more band tension or chains each week. You would add bar weight percentage. So say it was 30%, and the rest was 20% for bands and chains week 1. you would go 35% week 2, and then week 3 would be 40%, and it'd be 20%. So you're up to 60% total by week 3. If that's too heavy for you, too hard, you're not moving the bar fast, because remember, the intent is to be fast and to be efficient. If you're not moving it fast, and you're not moving it, and you're slowing down pretty quickly, and you feel beat up, there's too much tension on there. There's too much accommodating resistance. Back off on the tension and bring it back down to like maybe 15%, 10%. There's no ego here. The intent is to be faster, to build that speed, to build that force reduction, to build that power. Another week would be just chains, just bands. Again, the same thing. You would start with, say you want to go 50 to 55 or 60% over the course of 3 weeks. 50, then the week 2 would be 52.5%, and then 55% in bar weight. Keep the chains the same. Depending on how advanced you are, would depend on how heavy the chains are, and what kind of band you use. And then towards the end, as you're getting closer to your meet, I would go no bands, because they just they're really taxing on the central nervous system, really taxing on the joints, and they don't really give you the same bar path as straight weight or even chains would. They pull the bar in the direction that they want to go, or wherever they're anchored. So I would go either straight weight or even some chains. Again, depending on, you'll know your body, you'll know what to do, you'll know what works well for you. If you don't know yet, then I would go straight weight, and I would go 50, 52.5, 55%, or even 50, 55, 60%. Waving up to the 3 weeks, do a deload, go to your meet. Bob's your uncle. Max out, have a good time. I hope that helped, and leave a comment, ask some questions. I'm trying to grow the channel a little bit and trying to help some more people out. Talk to you guys later.